talked about some types of the methods that we can use to add styling into HTML. How many methods did I mention? How many methods did I mention? Oh yeah. Okay.
You talked about two methods.
Okay, which one and which one? It's not two, but which one and which one?
The through the CSS section by itself via style.css, and you could still do it inside
Okay.
your HTML page.
Okay. So do you want to add, Franklin, do you want to add anything to that? Because it's not two, it's not only two. There's still one more missing. There's still one more. Okay, I've already said it is three. So this is method one, right? There's no orderliness in the methods, right? So the first method I showed you guys was using attributes. That's using style attributes. The second method is having a style in the header, right? Style elements. And the third method is referencing to a file. So these videos are available for your consumption. You guys should watch the video. Very important. Watch those videos. They're available for your consumption. So I noticed that you guys don't watch the video. Okay, so let's move on to today's class. And we've missed the way we are going. You know, the way it's supposed to be like you are supposed to watch the class first, then you will ask questions, I will review it, I will talk about things that you don't understand, I will stress on one or two things. So 101 was supposed to be reviewing 101 now actually. We're supposed to be reviewing 101 now actually. Because you're supposed to have watched 102, even though I didn't send 102 across, but I didn't want us to rush the class. So let me open. So do you guys understand 101? Are we good to go to 102? So in 101, how many ways can you like give me on top of your head? How can you target a particular element? How many methods did I mention in 101? How to target a particular element. Let me remove the expo. So you can use the name. Like, I'm waiting for you guys. This is a review. How can you target? You want to style H1 now, which I have. You can see I have styled H1, right? So how did I go ahead to style it? What method did I use? Let me even talk about the method. I use element name, right? That's what I used. In the video, there are other methods that you guys are supposed to have gone through. There are other methods. So let me feature the video so that you guys will see what I'm talking about. You are supposed to have gone through this, and one. So I want to show you what I did versus what is left. So I showed you guys, this is 101, CSS 101. I showed you guys simple selector. The whole thing is about simple selector. We talked about adding CSS to the web page, which is three methods. And then we are sticking to using style attributes, or rather, sorry, we are sticking to using style elements in the header so that we can see all our code at the same time, easily. Then I showed you guys style by name. That's where I stopped. So, and I gave examples. Now I want you guys to tell me what you understand by style by ID and then style by class name, or selector by ID and selector by class name. Who is going first? This is a review. It's very easy for me to just go and rush and finish the class. Trust me. Trust me, it's very easy for me to say, oh, okay, boom, we are done for today. Next class. I don't want to rush the class. Or rather, I don't want to automate the class and then you guys are not going through the content. Right? You need to go through the content. So
So please take the question again. I did not
okay.
understand the question.
Okay, so good. Remember we did selector by name. Selector by name is ability for you to target a name of an element. You know what an element is now? Like a body, H1, paragraph, all those things are called elements. So you can actually select or target a particular element by its name. That's what we did in the previous class. And I left it so that you guys can go and watch this one because the video is well documented. It has what is CSS, it has introduction, it has so many slides that you guys are supposed to watch and enjoy. Okay, the question is this: what is selector by ID? What does it mean? Selector by class name, what does it mean? That's the question. Okay, so apparently, so did you guys go through the video? Did you watch this video?
Yes, sir, we did watch it.
Okay, so see, the thing is this, it's not really, it's very simple stuff. The way I want us to go by this class is very simple, and it's supposed to be this: watch the video and tell me you don't understand. What I mean by you don't understand is like, you say, oh, okay, I watched the video, but there's this one particular thing you mentioned. What does that mean? Why is it like this? That is the point of this whole thing. Because if you watch the video, it means everything is all well, you are good. Then I can turn the thing to autoplay. I can just tell you that, okay, today, go and watch 101. Tomorrow, go and watch 103. Like that till you finish. And at the end, I will give you assignment or I will give you project, and then everybody will go their separate ways. But this is, and that's the reason why this is called coaching. Because I need to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. So if you watch the video, you would have understand what this guy is and the second one. So in order not for us to take too much time, so let's talk about these two things tonight. We're going to talk about these two things tonight. And I'm going to send you the next video, which is CSS 102. Assuming that you guys are going to watch it and prepare and be ready for me or ready to ask me question on it. That's the idea. The class will be more dynamic. In fact, you guys are getting 2-in-1. You are getting 2 classes in one. After you must have watched the full video, I will now come live again and do a repetition. But what I've discovered is that people don't watch the first video. They just want to come and do the live. If you do the live, you will miss out because you already hear it once. The more you hear something, the more it sticks to you, right? The more the more they tell you something, the more it enters your head. That's just the truth. So let's go and pick these two things. Let's do these two things tonight, and then I send you the next video for the next class. Okay, so let's go ahead with the code. Let me project the code base so that you guys can see what's going on. So let's do this. We have been able to do selector by name. The next thing is selector by ID. So when I mean selector, it's like a way to target a particular element by ID. When we're doing forms, we mention ID, kind of in a way. ID is an attribute that can be attached to any element on a web page. ID is an attribute that can be attached to any element. And the question you ask is, what is the purpose of ID? ID is used to uniquely identify an element in the entire page. ID is attribute in which you use to uniquely identify an element in the entire page. Well, the need, you will not see the need now, but when we go to the next thing, which is JavaScript, after this course, okay, no, the next course is not JavaScript. The next course is Bootstrap. After Bootstrap, then we'll go to JavaScript. Then when we get to JavaScript, you will then see the need for ID. But for now, just know that there's something called an ID, and it is used to uniquely identify a particular element. And you get to see us, doing something like that. Now you have H1 here, and this H1, I want to create an example to give us the idea of what it is. And this one is, say, my first CSS page. I can say, let me just call this one header 1 for lack of a better name. And then I'll come and create another header at the bottom here, and then I'll call this header 2. Right? This can be a text whereby you have several, stories, and at the end you have more content coming in, right? So you have something like this. Now look at what has been done. What has been done here is that all H1 has the same styling based on your previous style that we did here inside this reference. By the way, this style.css can be any name. You can call it anything. This is a file name. You can call it anything, but just call it style because that's what it is. You're doing styling. So the file is what is inside here, and that is what depicts or denotes what then shows here. So I can change this to yellow at will, and what do you think will happen? All our H2, or rather all our H1, will become yellow. Okay, moving on. We are still talking about ID. I said ID uniquely identify an element. So I can go ahead and say ID and call this ID, let's just say, let me call it H1. Let me use this one. Let me call it H1. Right? You can see the name I call it. You can call it anything. It doesn't matter. Anything you're putting here is just to make sense to you. You can call it anything. Notice what I call it, guys. I call it H1, and I've assigned that ID to it. So no other element can then have this same ID again on this page. That is what ID is used for. ID is used to uniquely identify an element on a page. Then I can go to this H1, the second H1, and call it, of course, I don't want to give it the same name. I can call it H2 this time around. I call it H2. So what I've done is that I've styled, or I've created two different identities for the same elements. And the reason why I did this is that I want to style them differently. Even though they are carrying the same elements, they are both called H1, I want to style them differently for some reason or the other. So how do I target ID based elements? That's the question now. To target an ID based element, you need to write something different. And what is it that you need to write? The code is different. And the code is that you introduce a pound sign or hash sign. This is the new sign, and this sign denotes that you are about to start capturing an ID. So once you put that, you then put the name of the ID that you must have called it. In this case, we say H-1. So writing that, the next thing we have is that you can then continue with the way you write your declaration by doing curly braces and then writing your code inside. Now, anything you style here will apply to any ID that contains H1. So let's give it orange. So on doing that, do you guys see? Even though the style has a rule for H1, because there's another ID called this, automatically it uses what we have here. So you can also use this to style the second one, which is H-2. So I can go, I remember the command. You have to use hash, then H2. Then we can give this one purple or something. Or pink. You can give it pink. So do you see what has happened? So you've been able to use ID to uniquely target an element, and that's how ID works. So for now, it's good for you to have the idea. You will rarely be using it for now until we get further down into our course. Once we get further down into our course, you will see, other implementation of it. But just know that ID are always supposed to be unique across board. You use them to denote the content of your page. In your website, you will have a part that is the content, and things that is only supposed to be 1111. That's what you use ID for. For example, on a site, you can only have one navigation. You can only have, not that you can have, but major navigation. You will only have major content, one major content. You will have one footer. You will have one header. So those things are things most times you target header for. Moving on. The next part we also saw that we're to cover is targeting by class name. Targeting by class name. So what is a class? A class was specifically designed for styling. Class was specifically designed for styling. Now remember that if we wanted to style this one before, we use this style stuff and then we write our style there. Now the purpose of a class is that you can add a class to any element and use that name of the class to style that particular element. So based on the two things you've learned so far, you've learned that you can use the element name, you can use the ID, and again, the reason why you will not be using the ID all the time is, imagine you want to style so many headers separately. You can't be, using ID, springing up different name for ID up and down. You need something that you can just pass and then we just do the work for you. And that's where class comes in. So I'm going to, create something else right now so that we can make use of class. So I'm going to come here and say, let me use list, ordered list, or unordered list, anyone. So let me say, things to do. Okay, so let me just have list like this, right? And what I want to do is ability for me to style each of these item, right? I want to style everything. You know that I can style it by, let me do more so that it will give us a context. So let me create another list inside this part as well. So I will call this one 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, so that I can call this 2. Okay, so I have that set. Now I can target all the LI directly using style by elements, which let us do for fun. I will just come here and I can just do LI and say, what can I do to this guy? So let's do something very different that we've not done before. I want to do list decoration, because you can actually change the style of the list to, let me do something. Oh, okay, let's do, you can see that the style is changing. Let's do diamond, decimal. Okay, let me do that. Yes. Georigan. There's so many things that you guys can add here as type here. So there's decimal, there's disk is by default. There's decimal leading 0, there's Greek, there's Roman figure. Let me use Roman figure. Let me use Roman figure. So this is what's happening here. Now let's move on to the next thing. So this targets by what? Targets by name. Now how do you target by class? To target by class, you just add the class attribute. So I'll come here and I'll put the class attribute and I'll call this special. I just want to give it the name special. So you can say that special should have specific styling different from what the default should be. So I can say the first thing is special, and I can say the last one is also special. So what do I want? How do you style a class? To style a class, we need to do something different. Remember, to style an ID, you use hash. Then to style a class, you use dot. Very simple. So once you say dot, then you put the name of the class, which is special, and you follow by your curly brackets. Then you can go ahead. This is not spelling your special. The thing don't special. Okay. Is it the spelling? The thing just scatter my head now. Okay. So let's move on, guys. Okay. So the next thing is that you then specify the design that you want to go by. What style you want to style anything that has special. So for starters, let's change the color so that it can be visually, you can see visually. Let's use this guy. So you can see the difference, guys. You can see that you can easily style something using class, and you can add these to anything, not just to the particular one. So what class allows you to do is to add style to multiple things at the same time. ID only allows you to do it to one unique element, while class allows you to distribute it and give as many people that are interested. So let me do another thing here. I want to change the disk type to something different. I really want to make it very, awkward. So let me use, what is this? Aramean. Let me use upper alpha. Okay, yeah, I like this, upper alpha. So you can see the resulting. So anything special, we have another kind of styling that will go to it. So you can come here and use your special here and use it at the bottom in this place. Do you see what's happening here? So you can use it anywhere that you want. In fact, do you know that you can use this special inside header? You can use it inside your header here, but you just have to give it class and say it is special. But there's gonna be a problem because there is a color already rendered for each one, and special is also having its color, so it will pick the one that has the highest order in display. We're gonna get to this one later in the future, but your special can be applied to anything. So if there's something that this special does that each one does not apply, it will pick this special. So for example, maybe italics. So let's specify that special has italics. So how do you do italics? Is it text decoration? Okay, let's use underline because that one is obvious so that we can see it quickly. So this, okay, this overline. So let's use underline. So you can see that anything that holds special, we have underline. So because H1 has special, which is here, it now has underline. The reason why it's not carrying this color is because H1 has its own color and it has overridden this one. We'll get into that later in the future. So that's how we do those two things. Any question, guys? Any question?